And coming up on this episode of the Marty Mariner Show, going to catch up with a couple of old friends. The grumpy old men, Dean and Todd, are going to join me here in the Marty Mariner showroom. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about the start of the A-League men's competition. 6 games into the competition now. We're going to have a bit of a chat about how our teams are going. Are we thumbs up? We thumbs down? We somewhere in between? We'll have a bit of a chat about that. We'll also talk about the break, the World Cup break now. Would they have preferred their teams to have kept on playing, or is it a good thing that there's a bit of a break happening for their teams? And maybe even chat about what their teams are up to during this break, while some of their teammates, especially the three that are in the Mariners team, are over there in Qatar, the World Cup at the moment. But what the rest of the boys are up to, we'll have a chat about that. We'll also talk about the start of the A-League women's competition. The Jets and the Knicks kicked off their seasons last weekend. I'll have a chat to the boys about that. Can't wait to fast forward 12 months to see the Mariners women out there as well. Really looking forward to that one. And, of course, we'll touch on the World Cup. A lot of people I know in football haven't really been that invested in the World Cup this year. Circumstances going on, it's been a little bit different. We'll talk to the boys, how they're feeling about it, and I'm sure I may have a little rant about it myself. Looking forward to that. And, of course, we'll give some Socceroo predictions. Now, this show will go to air after the Socceroo game, but was recorded pre-Socceroo's game, so it has already been played by the time you've seen this. We will give our predictions, but I put them out there in the Twitterverse just so you could see what our predictions were pre-game, just in case you wondered why we all had the same result and called it totally correctly. All transparent here on the Marty Mariner Show. Always look forward to catching up with the fellas. Let's not keep them waiting any longer. It's the Marty Mariner Show. And welcome back to the Marty Mariner Show. And as I said in the introduction, it's been all too happy on this show of late. We need to grumpy it up a bit, and who else to do that? But the grumpy old men, Dean and Todd, have joined me in the Marty Mariner showroom today. Let's kick it off with Dean. How have you been, my friend?
Grumpy and jet-lagged I have been. Last Sunday, I arrived back from 3 weeks in the UK, and I'm still absolutely rooted. Right. So if I make any mistakes tonight or stumble on my words, it's because I'm jet-lagged and no other reason.
Well, what about the other weeks? Are we just going to carry that over, or are we just,
Yeah, I was awake all night, excited about going on holiday, and that made me a bit shit.
No, that's fair, mate. That's fair. And Todd, mate, loving the backdrop. You got all the Aussie shirts going on there. I've only got the one, mate. I just backed the one up there. Yeah. But how have you been, my friend?
Yeah, excellent. Living the dream, thank you.
Living the dream up in the great state of Newcastle. Loving it.
Yeah, so paradise.
Paradise, yeah, well.
The original paradise.
The original paradise, okay. Well, I was going to say, clarify that. There's a team out there with paradise as their wording at the moment. So
I noticed that.
Oh, don't upset the locals. That's the last thing you need to be doing. So,
okay.
Boys, I thought I'd as we're going to air on a Tuesday night, the Socceroos are playing tomorrow morning. So later on, we will talk about the Socceroos. By the time this has come out, the game has already played. So we're going to go a little bit Nostradamus and see how close our predictions were. But I thought it's also a great time just to have a bit of a reflection on the first month or month and a half of the A-League, how our teams have been going. Dean, a bit of a mixed bag, do you think, for Wellington? Some draws that I think you may be happy with, but performance-wise, what have you made of the first 6 games of the next season?
Of course, I missed all the good ones, being on holiday. Yeah, so we're sitting in 8th place with 6 points. Yeah. 3 draws and 1 win. It could have been so much better with that last game. I'm not sure if you saw the results of the last game, but we let a 2-0 lead slip, lost 3-2.
Yeah.
Can't take anything away from Diamante's free kick. It was fantastic. But letting a 2-0 lead slip at home is very, very disappointing. So I could have been sort of a lot more buoyant than I am about our season. But, yeah, look, 1 win, 3 draws, 2 losses. It's probably an actual okay start compared with our other seasons. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm feeling slightly more positive. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see much of the gameplay in the last couple of games, being on holiday. So I'm just looking at the results and looking at the goal scores. I think confidence is creeping into the team, but for that last sort of 40 minutes of the game last week, a lot might have ebbed away. Yeah, relatively happy with where we are. So it could be worse. The last few seasons, we've started off with 4 losses or things like that. So, yeah, 8th, but could have been 4th.
Yeah, but I think too, mate. Like, I mean, the 3 teams that you've drawn against. I mean, City that are sitting on top of the comp. Adelaide, who were on fire in their last game. I don't know if you saw that one, but they absolutely were brilliant. And the Mariners, who I think, all bar a late goal against MacArthur, which I may or may not talk about a bit later, would also be in the top 4. So, 3 of the top 4 teams you've necessarily had that draw against. So, I mean, when you take it in context of that, it's probably not a bad result, right?
Yeah, exactly. And from a player point of view, I don't think we've got too many sort of worries at the moment. Maybe Jan Sass still not getting much game time, if any. But yeah, look, so relatively happy with the squad and happy with where we are. Although I'm supposed to be grumpy, I'm sort of less grumpy.
That's all right. It's just a good name for the show, mate. So we can't say the happy old men doesn't just correlate, does it? If you're Ufuk Talay and you've got this period of time off, I mean, I don't know what the Wellington club are doing, but would there be anything particularly you'd be looking at and going, all right, well, look, in the games that you've seen, we probably missed out a little bit on this. Would there be something you'd like him to be focusing on?
Are you talking sort of perhaps replacement players or some work-ons?
Oh, yeah, maybe just with what he's got. But, is there anything in particular way that you've been playing?
Maybe just a slight jiggle on the defence. Just sort of hardening it up a little bit, I think. As I say, when you sort of give away a 2-0 lead, you've got to look really at your sort of defence. And there was a few mistakes that were made. Yes, Scott Wooten is looking very solid, but maybe some pairings and maybe some locations around him. Maybe there's an injury or two that we couldn't sort of bring on, perhaps a shot stopper or perhaps more of a blocker in the midfield, but perhaps a little bit of defensive confidence and defensive work, I think.
And do you think for the Knicks, has the World Cup break come at a good time or a bad time for the club?
A bit of both, really. Obviously, the break is going to give you time to heal your injury, so that's going to play into the hands of David Ball. For the rest of the team, it's probably going to help their golf more than anything else. But you're always carrying niggles and a bit of fatigue, so everybody will get the chance to sort of perhaps heal up and sort of, you obviously want to have your training sessions because you're not having the games. You want sort of similar related training sessions. I'm not sure there's any sign of that happening, though. They might be playing against local clubs, but there's a lot of local leagues that are still running. So, I think that hard training is probably not going to be sort of available. Here in Australia, for example, you could just sort of shoot up to Newcastle or Vanuatu or wherever and have some games. But in Wellington, not so much. But then again, maybe they got something that I'm not aware of.
Oh, absolutely. And I guess also, too, they're probably getting back in the swing of this travel back to to Australia and going back and staying. Because, I mean, last year, majority was all here, based in New South Wales, went back and played, 2 games at the end of the season. Already, they've done that travel a few times. So that's going to take an adjustment to sort of get back into the swing of that as well, right?
Agree, yeah. It's a good time to sort of take advantage of having a rest, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Todd, the original Jet Man, what's going on at Newcastle, mate? What is it? 1 win, 2 wins. 2 wins out of the 5 because we've only played the 5 games.
Yeah.
What have you made of the start of the season, mate? We know the first one you got away with it, the first week, because you didn't get to play. But after that, mate, how have you gone? How have you gone?
It's sort of fallen into the same old, I think. I got a theory that I can't say much about. But I thought we probably could have done perhaps a little bit better in a couple of our games, but we've got a lot of problems off the paddock that really no one's prepared to talk about, which I think, unfortunately, have started to attack or play on the players before, like it was sort of towards the end of the season last year. I think it's just we've got a few there, we've got a few injuries. I was at training today. There's a couple of guys that probably should be out there that aren't. Just break's probably come at a good time for us. we're off to Tamworth tomorrow. I think they leave to play Melbourne City again and the second round of the W League.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry?
Yeah, I was going to say the W League there as well, right?
Yeah, it's a double header, and then across to the Leagues Club to watch the Socceroos game. So it should be a good night, sort of thing.
Triple header.
But yeah, but yeah, I don't know, perhaps a bit disappointed. It's the best way to put it. But yeah, I sort of can't. Like I said, I got a theory that I don't know. When you got guys putting money in, I don't know if I was putting a stack of dough into a team and then floating another one, I'd really want them to be beating my own team.
Yeah.
I think I've discussed with you. I won't go into because I don't know about the politics, and I'm assured that won't happen. But yeah, it just seems funny that we started so well and then come up against two teams and just play like we didn't turn up. I don't know that a team can go from where we were to where we were as quickly as what we did, because we didn't lose a lot of players. We lost one of our backers, but that's not the end of the world because we won 3-0 against you guys, I think.
Yep.
And had a spare backer score a goal, so it's not like we need all of our backers together, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and what about just the feeling up there too? Because I noticed, like crowd wise, as it seemed, there was a bit of expectation at the start of the year. It seemed like it was shaping up okay. Have the crowds been backing that up, or they just seem to have dropped as well?
Yeah, they seem to have dropped. It's just sort of a bit level, I'd say.
Yeah.
I thought we might have actually got a few more in, but you're not going to get big crowds while you're not winning, and then to sort of go down the way that we have, sort of thing. We had a good turnout at Western Sydney, like away fan sort of thing, to then just basically, get creamed, for want of a better term. It just looked like we weren't even there. But it is what it is, and it's still early.
It is early, yeah.
The breaks, I think we're going to talk about the break later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't get too much into the break then, and I'll just leave it where it is. Yeah, a little bit disappointed, but yeah, it's early and
early days.
Yeah,
early days.
See what happens.
And you got a couple of derbies coming up within about 6 days of each other.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, that'll be good. So, that'll be a good test. Yeah.
The first one you'll see without me, mate, but I'll be there for the second one. So
yeah, all good.
I'll be. I know you'll cheer for the Mariners for me. I'm sure that'll be great. Appreciate that sort of stuff. So, but look, and I think, talking Mariners, it's been that goal MacArthur scored in the last minute of the game. To me, was just that little bit of the decoration on the cake that would have been lovely to get the two to get the draw to keep the 2-2. And a lot of people, and I'll just go straight to the last game, because a lot of people sort of said, we should have thrown the defence behind it. We should have been happy with the draw. That's not the mentality of a Montgomery team this year. We're going out to win a game. And you think about, Western, we were down 2-0. They had a player sent off and it was just all out attack. I get it. They had 10 players. But even against MacArthur, when we had the 10 players ourselves, the mentality was exactly the same, to attack and just keep at him. And he's not going to change that for 1 minute in the last minute of the game. We were out there to win it, and if we'd have scored, it would have been buoyant. So, in a sense, I think for us, I think the break was probably. I'd love to have kept on playing. I think the momentum we were starting to get. It would have been lovely to get a game straight away after that loss to get back on the horse, so to speak. I think the boys are overseas, which we'll talk about in a sec. They're off. Well, a lot of them are off in Vanuatu at the moment. And they're having a ball of a time, which is great. But I just think that momentum that we were starting to get after the draw against the Knicks, and then we lost to Perth, we then started to get some traction. The West Sydney game was brilliant, and then we had that MacArthur game where it was just, as I said, we still didn't look like we were 2-0 down even in playing in the game, and never really looked out of it. But It's that's football, as they say. It's a football thing, as my friends would say on the other podcast. So, but I think yeah, we'll talk about the breakdown. I'll just continue because the boys are over there playing in the over in Vanuatu in the Friendship Cup. They've got 3 games over there. They've taken a first team / youth team over there, and according to well, it's all over their socials, and according to a few of the boys themselves, they're having a great old time. A nice break, which I said must be nice for some to, get paid to go over to Vanuatu and jump in a swimming pool and enjoy yourself. But it's all business as well. But they're actually Brian Kaltak, who signed for us, is the captain of the Vanuatu national team, and they've actually spent some time locally where he grew up, sort of showing where he came from, which I think culturally is fantastic for the boys. And I think that's something it's those kind of things that bring your team together, when you sort of get to know where someone played their football as a kid, and see where they all came from. So I think that's fantastic. So yeah, but the boys are having a great time with it. Dean, you said the you're not quite sure what the guys are doing, but I think it's important. Obviously, the coaches are going to be getting them to do something over this break. They can't just sort of sit down and watch the World Cup, right?
Agree. Look, just harking back to Brian Kaltak and Vanuatu, I think it's great that the Mariners are reaching out to the Pacific like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's I don't know, untapped resource is probably not the right term, but I think there's a lot of players from the Pacific that could sort of make it. We've had Roy Krishna, for example, from Fiji, fantastic success.
Brilliant.
Benjamin Totori, not so much. He's the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, if you will. But it's a very popular sport in the Pacific Islands, and just the fact that the Mariners are reaching out and actually playing games over there I think that's terrific, and hats off to them. It just sort of gives the Pacific Island players just a bit of an idea, maybe gives them a chance to get in the spotlight a bit, maybe get picked up. They don't have to come into the A-League. A team like Auckland City or some of the sort of other teams around the place can sort of pick these players up and give them a future. So hats off to them for that.
No, absolutely.
And
I was going to say, I think they played the Afira Blackbirds or something. I think they're the Port Vila champions or something, which is great. I mean, you can imagine the spectacle of that. They played the national side, and then they're playing I think it's like an academy, Venetian Academy. So you sort of think about the different levels that they're playing at, but just the amount of people that will be watching it. And I agree exactly what you're saying. The reach that will have with players going, because I think rugby league very much went the same way, right? They sort of looked at as you said, an untapped potential kind of thing. With the amount of players that are there, you think there's got to be some decent footballers too, right?
I agree. I mean, you look at the Rugby League World Cup, who was it, Australia versus Samoa?
Yeah, exactly. So, Tonga in the semi or something.
Yeah. So, look, I think it's great, and it's sort of like a region. You don't really want the Oceania football thing to be just New Zealand winning.
Absolutely.
11-0 when they go away in the qualifiers. So you want genuine competition, and the Mariners are doing their bit to make that happen. So I'm pleased about that. And look, getting back to your original question, I think look, he does have a plan. I think they're going to be sort of working quite diligently. It's just because I've come back and I've sort of been off the social, so I've been a little bit off the radar as to what they're doing. But I suspect that we do have a plan for keeping them active, if you will.
Absolutely. And Todd, in all the social photos I never saw you over in Vanuatu, mate. So obviously the Jets aren't over there either.
No. 10 West as far as we're going. Apparently it's the Greater Bank Jets tour that we normally do at the start or in pre-season.
Okay. Yeah.
Sort of got held back because of the way things were with the club sort of thing.
Right.
We've actually done a Coffs Harbour pre-season, but that wasn't sponsored by the Greater Bank where this one is sort of thing. So it's all good, and they're taking the girls this time, which is another good thing to see. Sort of they're sort of going places, female football, and with the World Cup coming up, now's the time to pounce. I sort of went to a trial game 4 years ago in Taree, and it was sort of whether or not it was going to get called off because of rain. And there's probably the families and 3 or 4 Jets fans, and there must have been 2,500 people from the Mid-North Coast.
Right.
And there's no one there to sponsor it. Like they could have run a clinic sort of thing and just cleaned up. Just
Absolutely.
so good for the game and for women's football, and just opportunity missed where this time they're not. So yeah, happy about that. Even though it's sort of only to Taree sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's sort of we're working where your guys are just holidaying.
Yeah. No, we're just putting our feet up, mate. We've got a busy Christmas time coming up.
Is it true that Tamworth is described as the Fiji of the Northeast?
Probably. Yeah. That's a good description.
Yeah. There is a palm tree there, I'm sure. There's a palm tree there.
Yeah. I'll take a photo for it and send it to you.
Yeah, can you? We'll put it up on the show. That's absolutely. And I know, and in listening to a bit that sort of Monty has said about it too, that very much for the boys, it's football. It's keeping the rhythms going and working on different things and taking some of the youth players as well to give them a bit of acclimatizing, if you like, into the senior squad. But it's just as important for them the off field, and I think that's the great thing, because we do have a really young squad, and to sort of bring them together. Going overseas, staying together, but seeing the cultural side of things, especially when it's a member of your team, a new member of your team, I think that's I think it's fantastic. So long may all the clubs get over there and do some different things.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely that you just get so much out of it. As I said, it's not just the football, but it's what you get out of it off the field as well. So, but Todd, you mentioned the women's team, the A-League women's competition kicked off last week.
Yeah. Yep.
You guys went down to Brisbane 2-1.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see the game? Know much about what happened?
I saw a little bit of it, just basically the end of it.
Right.
Apparently, our carried off player isn't as bad as she first thought, which is a good thing.
That's right.
Don't want to see anyone carried off on a stretcher, and you don't want to lose one of your star players.
Yeah.
First game of the season, so apparently she'll be back. So that's a good thing.
Nice.
Sort of happy that a lot of locals are in the squad, but then again, you've got the problem with a lot of locals being in the squad where it's good for the area.
Yeah.
It's sort of pathways and everything like that, but I don't know how competitive will actually be. Again, there's another story that cash flow wise doesn't pan out, although we've got 3 American imports this year, which we didn't have last year, but good number of local people that have sort of stepped up from the NPL. So yeah, really happy with that. And just again, it's about just keeping a club and teams in Newcastle until we can find somebody with the cash flow that wants us.
Absolutely. And how good is it going to be next year, mate? Having double header, Newcastle versus Central Coast Mariners games.
Oh, that will be good. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Really good fun. Now, another bonus of having the Mariners women's team is we get more derbies every year, so we can double up. It's fantastic. And Dean, was that the first game played in Wellington?
First women's game played in Wellington, yeah.
Decent crowd too. Result didn't go your way.
So unfortunately we lost 4-1. But look, 5,213, if we're being exact, that's sort of what the record for a regular season game in the A-League Women's, which is terrific. Absolutely. So look, a lot of feel-good stories about it. Just there was just 45 shit minutes, really.
Yeah.
Nil all at halftime. We had a couple of chances. Look, we were playing probably the team to beat this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They've been strong.
And look, young Rojas from City just carved us up. She was fantastic. It's good to see because she only came in as a replacement for Hannah Wilkinson. Yeah. So look, it was a great day except for the result. You could see the smiling faces and everybody having fun. The Phoenix started off, the first 10 minutes was very dodgy, but then they grew into the game and they were getting lots of space. There was just perhaps a bit of sloppy play and sloppy passing, which was sort of to our detriment. But look, we did score a consolation goal at the right end of the field as well. And although it was called an own goal, I think I've made a little thingy there just showing that I've given it to Ava.
I did say
that.
But
yeah, look, it was a great day. I would have loved to have been there. Holly was there, raising the flag for a little corner of yellow. It was just flights back. I couldn't get back in time for work on Monday. Otherwise, I would have been there like a shot.
Absolutely.
Because after the game, there's players doing all the signings and the photos and stuff, and it would have been great to have been there. But yeah, I think I'm feeling good about the season.
Yeah.
I hope to think that we'll finish at mid-table or the top 6.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And that'd be and another excuse for us to really get things sorted and get over to New Zealand next year as well, when the Mariners will travel over there as well. So make it a double header, and that'll be even better. So and of course, now you'll have to remind me, we've got the little corner of yellow, but we have a ladies support group as well.
Yeah. So the Flight of the Knicks, it's called. They obviously support all things Phoenix, all things New Zealand football, but the main focus is on the women's team. Jonathan, Denise, and Holly's chipping in there, as well as Blake. And it's good to see that sort of like just trying to galvanize people, get some people behind them, and find somebody who can play a drum is probably the first thing.
Well, I do, but I can't carry it around with me, mate. It's a bit big.
Most of those guys don't live in Wellington, so it's going to be very hard for them to sort of build up the numbers. But it was good to see them there, and it was good justification for all the support that they've been doing. They've been doing some very good podcast interviews with people such as Lily Alfeld, and I understand you may be able to tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, we're hoping to caught up with Lily. Just a few messages that we've had on Twitter. We're hoping to get to Lily on to have a bit of a chat. She's been an absolute legend. Saw plenty of vision when she was at the launch the other week. And from all reports from some people that I knew were there, it's an absolutely a lovely young lady. So we look forward. We can't bring her on the grumpy old man. I mean, that would be a bad move for her career-wise. Obviously, we wouldn't do that to her. But hopefully we can organise that. Obviously, the injury at the moment, she's obviously nursing that and getting back to 100% as quick as she can. But obviously, the little corner of yellow have something to do with Lily as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So once you speak to Lily or spend any time with her, you'll understand why people hold her in such high regard. She is such a magnificently decent human being. You just want to run through a wall for her. You'll find that out when you interview her. And sort of based on that, Holly and I decided to reach out to the club and see what we could do. Yeah. We want to sort of sponsor the whole club or do some form of sponsorship for the club. Yeah. Maybe even a tiny little logo on a pair of shorts that no one had ever noticed, but we'd know was there. Look, that was also taken up by sort of corporate folks, but they did the program for the player partnership. Okay. And so, look, Holly and I sort of cobbled together some money. It wasn't cheap, but it was totally worth it. Yep. So it's just a way that we could show our support, A, for the club, but B, for Lily as well. So we're thrilled to actually sort of be associated with Lily and the Wellington Phoenix in a kind of sponsorship kind of way.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Todd, you've done some sponsorship as well, haven't you? Do you want to talk about that?
No, that was that was just my daughter's all-age team. They're D grade, I think. But it was sort of had a bit of cash and just decided that was the thing. And I sort of wanted just an insignificant thing on the sleeve that I knew was there. Then ended up bigger than what the front shirt sponsor was in the middle of their back. So whatever.
Whatever works. Right?
It is what it is. But sort of you can't lose with a thing like that, whether you started at grassroots or where you did with the Phoenix. It's sort of what it's all about as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I was going to say, like the obviously it's great with Lily and the Knicks and stuff like that, but they're going to get some TV coverage. They're sponsors who go there will get some signage at the ground. Grassroots, it's only going to be the people there. So to really invest, that is for the love of it, right?
Yeah. It's that's the thing, and the sort of the team's been very good to me. They sort of adopted me earlier on and shot me a whole pile of cash to buy a better lens to take better photos and things. So it's sort of like a give back sort of thing as far as I'm concerned, sort of thing. So
absolutely
can't lose with that sort of thing.
I think it's awesome. Sorry, Dean.
No, okay, carry on. I don't think I was going to ask you anything apart from just saying, Todd, good on you for sponsoring. It doesn't matter what level it is. You're out there, you're showing your love of the game, your love for the people, and this is a good a forum for at least for Marty and I to say good on you. The other good thing is when the news came out about Lily's sponsorship from the little corner of yellow, there were about 3 or 4 other people sort of raised the interest about, look, I'm just a private person and I want to sponsor something.
Absolutely.
So hopefully it's something that will grow and maybe even snowball into something quite big.
Well, We'll have to wait and see if we get a Central Coast Mariners, one of the women's players next year running around with the MartyMariner show on the back of her shirt. How good would that
Yeah.
be?
Yeah.
Even so
have to talk
proud.
to the powers that be. Well, I had Sean on the other week. I should have asked him while I was there. But anyway, we'll figure that one out. But no, I think it's great, whether it's grassroots or local level or whatever. If there's people willing to put money in, and it's really going to just be for the love of it, I think that's what keeps this game ticking over. So
Yeah.
no, good on you guys. I think that's brilliant on both counts, and all the best to Lily on her recovery too. We hope she gets back on the park very, very quickly. Boys, World Cup. We've only had 4 games so far. Dean, I'll just come to you first. Are you a big World Cup guy? Is it something you really look forward to? Has this one been any different for you? Where are you at with this World Cup?
Yeah, well, clearly we're not. New Zealand didn't qualify, so that was like a black mark. But yeah, normally I'm kind of excited, but for this one, I think for the reasons I think we probably all know, I'm not very invested at all. Yeah, I hope Australia do well, but I'm not making any sort of particular efforts to actually sort of follow, apart from looking at scores maybe. But yeah, just for me, we're at the location, the nature of the regime and the location for me is just a massive turnoff. And having said that, I am sort of acknowledging the World Cup. There's the things I'm wearing tonight have got a link with the World Cup. This top here, you can see I was wearing at the 2005 game when Aloisi sort of slotted the penalty. I was in the stadium right at the back. So that's one sort of link. And the other one, this is Cam Devlin's sort of training top, or his Phoenix top that he gave when he left for Phoenix. I'm hoping he gets a game tonight against France, and I hope he does bloody well.
Absolutely. Yeah, if he comes away with 3 points, we'll be happy. Well, there's definitely 2 links, mate. Todd, have you been invested at all in it?
Do you want me to stand up and show you the shorts? No.
Well, I'm not sure if there's any kids who haven't gone to bed yet, mate. So we'll probably...
Look away now.
Yeah.
No. I actually haven't owned a current jersey till this one here. Which I bought Saturday. Daughter bought me the imitation spew at a Matildas game at Hunter Stadium a few years ago. And the other 2 the other 3 are remakes. So yeah, I'm not. Hope they do well, but yeah, I'm a bit like Dean as far as what I've sort of heard and what I've been told, and sort of some of the people that I associate with know a bit more about it than probably what the average people. And it is what it is. It's over there. I can't not support the Socceroos, but in times gone by, we've probably got up and watched silly games. When Fernando Torres played for Spain, Ronaldo played. The kids were younger. We sort of watched games all hours of the night, day, and everything in between, and replays. Where this year, I think everyone that I know is basically, if you look at social media, the circle that we probably move in are pretty much the same as where we are with it. It is what it is. I hope they do well.
Absolutely.
You got a couple of coasties in amongst it there, which
we do.
is fantastic to see. Guys that are just, because I can remember back a couple of years ago, I think it was Pim, was it? If you weren't registered with a overseas club by a certain date, you didn't get the chance to get picked. And mass exodus from the A-League, which just killed it off, basically. I don't know whether you can remember back that far, but
I can't remember.
Yeah, it killed Newcastle off. I know, we had a lot of fringies that had played or sat on the bench, and they all thought, this is their year. We sat on the bench last year. Big chance this year. We need to be somewhere. And they just went to silly clubs just so they were registered overseas. But the thing is, they left with probably 5 or 6 games to go of the regular A-League season. And it just killed us, because they were the guys that, if we're in with a chance, they were the guys who were going to sort of get us there. And they're warming a bench overseas so they could not get picked for the Socceroos. So it's good to see the amount of local guys, and especially coasties, because we don't have anyone in. Brilliant. And that guy that's going to tear the world to pieces, I hope he does well.
Mr. Garang Kwal.
Yeah, that's him.
Be
That's him.
interesting. Lots of calls for him to start the game. I still think I'd be bringing him on near the end. I
Yeah,
think
I was
he's
going to
best for
say,
it.
just yeah,
But
use him as his strike weapon.
well, exactly, and that's. I mean, when you think about it, he's not even starting for the Mariners, so it'd be
Yeah, well,
he's
that's the
start
thing,
for
you know. It's
Socceroos. But
yeah,
still hasn't started a professional game, so that's
yeah, right.
an
So
interesting.
Martin Boyle's
Marty,
there.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
I'd just say your opinion on the World Cup. Todd and I, this is your chance
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Look, I'm someone every year since I can remember as a kid, because I came out here when I was 12 from England, so it was massive. I was loved it all over there. But I'm one of the guys, even to this day, I get the Panini, the sticker book. I go and buy the stickers to put in there. I normally get the wall chart out and whack it up on the wall, and I mark down all the scores, and I fill out the table as we go. And there's been years where you could put up things on the fridge where you could move teams around and all this. And it was all about the football. It was all about the superstars that were coming back to their country to play, and how would they gel with others coming from other teams. And it was just all about the football. How would the Brazilian and the Argentinian way of playing mix with the European style, and who was going to be the Cameroon from years back, the outsiders that came through, and or the Peru from back in the day. It was just about the football, and it's just, as much as, I mean, I'm still a fan of the World Cup. I think, the whole trophy thing, I think it's something that every player would strive to do to represent their country, to be in it. But all the stuff we keep hearing about the World Cup is nothing to do with the football. And that is the thing about it, is that we've got the best of the best in the game. Oh, there we go. We've got the best of the
Go
best.
digital or stay at home.
Oh, you got the best players in the world there, people who strive for years. Like, you don't just qualify in the last 6 months to get to the World Cup. Like, these qualifications they're over seasons, right? So they finally get there, and it should just be about the football. And there's just so much noise, white noise, but real noise that's going on about they can't wear this, they can't do this,
Yeah.
and they're not even having beer at a game. And then there was the debate about, well, you don't really need to have a beer at a game. It's not the point, and I get all that sort of stuff. And talk about captain's armbands and whether they can have rainbows on it. And a guy who got kicked out the stadium because he had a rainbow on his T-shirt. It's just ridiculous. It's as far away from football as I've ever seen it. And football to me it's always been a people's game, where people can be like us. We're passionate fellas. We love go watch our team play. We can meet our friends. We can have a laugh, have a joke. We celebrate, we cry, we do all that sort of stuff together. We mix with other fans like we do here, and we talk about the game and the excitement of it all. And that's just what it's about. The other stuff can take care of itself. But right now with the World Cup, it just seems to be every game, every bit of news that comes out is all about everything bar the football. And that's the disappointing thing, because I think that there's going to be some cracking games of football being played. I mean, England played last night, was that 6-2 or something? And there was some brilliant football there. And yet this morning, it was all about that Harry Kane didn't get to wear this his captain's armband that he wanted to, and that Belgium on the inside of their shirt or something have got the word love that's got to be taken off. It's just, to me, as a pure football lover, I'm trying to get into it just on the football side, but I think it's making it really hard. I'm really looking forward to the Women's World Cup next year.
Yeah, that's my focus.
That will be, to me, football. That will be pure. We know what crowds are like in Australia. We know what the game's like here. You can't get tickets for the first game against Ireland now. Australia-Ireland is sold out at Stadium Australia. That's like, 80,000 people for a group game.
Wow.
Amazing, right? And it's just going to be, go there, have a good time, celebrate. It's just going to be brilliant. You're just going to know the atmosphere is going to be. And I've known people who've been to past World Cups, and they've talked about the stories of the, meeting up with other fans and lifelong friends that they met there from different countries. Yet we're not hearing anything like that at all. All we're hearing is about all the bad stuff. So for me, I'm a football lover. I'm trying to watch the football, and that's about it. It's just lost that passion side for me.
Yep. Look, for me, the real World Cup, as you say, next year. Australia, New Zealand, women's football, loving it.
Absolutely. And spoke to Short Mielecamp, the CEO of the Mariners, last week, and he said that we'd be extremely disappointed. So it's almost got a tick next to it by the sound of it. One of the national teams will be based here on the Central Coast, and using the local facilities. So they'll automatically become the number 2 team for everyone on the Central Coast, I presume, after the Matildas. But it's just great for the game. And especially for the Mariners who, after the World Cup, I think it's 10, 12 weeks or something before the new season starts with our new Mariner, like the energy and the impetus that we're going to get off that World Cup is just going to be amazing. Everyone is going to want to be involved. So promoters and marketers' dream, I would have thought, for the Women's A-League. And I mean, even this year, there's still talk about it from this year. And that's what you love about it. So
Do you think Australia knows what's going to hit it?
No.
No.
I really don't.
New Zealand's got no idea.
Yeah.
They've had a bit of an inkling with the Rugby World Cup.
Yep.
But yeah, they're just going to be blown away by what's going to happen, I reckon.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't think so at all. I just think that it's just different in this country. We follow our sporting events, but there's just such an energy behind this bid, and now the fact that we've got, ever since we've had this bid been accepted, the excitement in New Zealand, the excitement in Australia, people are talking about now. And I know we're in the country, it's going to happen, but people who I know who've been in football all their lives are talking about the Women's World Cup next year over talking about the World Cup that's being played right now.
Yep.
And that's sad for the game, the men's game that's being played right now, but it's ecstatic for the game that's going to get played, because I don't know of anyone who, across all of the spectrum of football people I know, who aren't going to games next year. They've already got tickets. They've already got this. We're talking, 9 months away, something like that, 10 months away. It's just amazing. There's just such a buzz about it. And I don't know. I don't know whether what's going on over there right now in Qatar will really just... Australians and New Zealanders are the same. We love to show everyone how it's done properly. This is how you get behind. This is passion. This is raw kind of energy. I just think that they won't know what's hit it. And even games that are being played over here between countries like not Australia, not New Zealand, they're also selling. They're selling all these tickets for it because people just want to go and be a part of it. So, yeah, mate, I can't wait for it. But just trying to get through this one as we go. I'm focusing on the field. I've got my coaching hat on and I'm focusing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. How is the coaching going with your team?
Well, we've just started, but it's good. It's good.
Assuming you're okay to talk about it during the Grumpy Old Man podcast,
no,
I'd be happy to hear
it's all part of the contract, mate. I'm allowed to, no. The
it's
social
your
manager
show.
hasn't said anything to me, but yeah, Sean gave me the hello, the congrats the other week too, which was nice. But no, it's, as I said, it's good to get back into it. And from what I've seen so far, there's a group of enthusiastic young fellas who are willing to run through walls, which is something I couldn't do. So good on them for doing that. So no, we're looking forward to it, mate. And again, that'll be the part of next year too. Coaching a first grade side for the first time, having the Women's World Cup being played, and then moving into another Mariners season, and the women's team is just going to be a magic year next year. Can't wait for it. So really, really, really looking forward to next year. So, but because this will come out actually after the Socceroos game, because we're 6:00 in the morning.
True. Yep.
We're going to have to be a bit Nostradamus here, because this is going to come out and the game's already going to be played. So we're going to probably sound pretty stupid, but we'll have a guess of what we think the Socceroos score will be. Todd, I'll come to you first, mate. Give me a score.
Hard game, 2-1 Socceroos.
Oh, nice. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I reckon we're in.
Yeah? Any idea of goal scorers? Come on, you can be a real genius now and say, Todd actually said that before the event.
No, I was going all right the other day, so I'm just leaving it as that. But France have lost a couple of players.
They have.
Yeah, so I think we're in with a chance.
Absolutely. Okay, no, we'll take that. So a 2-1. 2-1, we'll take that. All right, Dean.
Have to be not realistic is not a word that I would use. No, I would say 3-1 to France. For France, 3 French blokes scoring. For Australia, 1 Aussie. I can't give you the names at the moment. Like the crystal ball is still a little bit hazy.
Bit foggy.
Yeah. I might I don't know, feel the lumps on my head or something like that and come up with a name later. But I'd love to see Mr. Quoll score, actually.
Yeah. Wouldn't we all? Jeez, his price tag will be raising as it is. I'm tipping a draw. I'm going to go. We've covered all results here, so someone's going to be reasonably right. I'm tipping a 1-1. I actually think that France have still got quality all over the park, so it's not like they've lost a couple of players and whatever. There's still going to be quality out there. I just don't know whether first game up. I'm glad we're playing them first up. I think it'll be a very sort of feel-out kind of game. I think they may go up early, but I think we might have the energy in the second half. And I think you're right. Mr. Qual comes on in the second half and does what he does. Be great if he scores. Or if he puts the ball and squares it to Mr. Cummings, who puts one in the bottom right-hand corner. There could well be a bit of a sort of celebration going on. So that would be good.
That would be a great story. Although in his interviews, they're going to have subtitles, even for like on SBS, I reckon.
Yeah, he's yeah, it's a bit like that.
I hope he does well. I feel good. I feel good for him.
Absolutely, and I think it's great. I mean, I know it's great that we got there's 3 Mariners in the Socceroos team, first time in the World Cup than an A-League top, which is great. And as Sean said the other week, it's 4 years till someone can beat that record, so that's great. And I'm sure in 10 years' time or 12 years' time, when a trivia competition, they'll say, name the A-League club that provided 3 people. There'll be Melbourne City, there'll be Victory, there'll be Sydney, and probably not many people get a guess at the Central Coast Mariners, but always great for the club. But all the A-League boys that are over there, as I said, Goodwin, I'm a fan of his with what he's doing in Adelaide. I hope he gets his opportunities. I'm hoping absolute blanket for all the boys, no injuries, because I think that would be a shame, because when you come back, there's a stack of games that are getting played. And so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that there'll be no injuries. But just for the A-League boys, I hope they get their opportunity and they get to shine literally on the world stage. So
exactly, yeah,
they'll go from there as well. So, boys, we've done pretty well tonight. I think we've covered a fair bit of stuff. We've covered some A-League, we've covered some W League that's been kicking off. We've gave our predictions for the Socceroos as well, which by the time this goes to air will be either right or wrong, but we'll see how we would have gone. Thanks for joining me, fellas. It's a pleasure as always. Still not as grumpy. We're gonna have to get some topics that we can get more grumpy about.
You make the 7 a.m. in the morning recordings, and you'll get grumpy.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not allowed to have a coffee before we start. So we'll make it like that. That'll be the killer for me, trust me. So anyway, fellas, thanks for that. We will catch up with you both very, very shortly.
Thanks, Marty. Thanks, Todd. Great to see you.
See you later. Yeah, bye.
And that is our show for today. A massive thank you to Dean and to Todd, our grumpy old man, for joining me in the MartyMariner showroom for a bit of a chat, a bit of a chinwag, a bit of a conversation, talking things A-League men's, A-League women's, Socceroos, World Cups, bit of a rant in there somewhere too. Really enjoyed chatting to the boys. We'll do so again soon. Coming up on the MartyMariner show very, very soon, early next week. In fact, the front 3 are back, Hayley, Carly and Mel. Let me give you a hot tip. Behind the scenes in the chat, some of the things these guys are talking about, they bring them out into the open, talk about them next week. It's going to be a show you will not want to miss, so look forward to that one. And to make sure you don't miss it, hit that subscribe button. It'll make sure that you get all of the episodes. There's also a notification bell to make sure you know when the episodes are up and running. And, of course, if you like the videos, hit that like button. Plenty of room in the comments too. If you're a Mariners, a Jets, or a Knicks fan, and you agree, disagree with how we see the start of the season going, make sure you hit that button for us as well. Always enjoy talking to the fellas. Looking forward to chatting to the ladies next week. It's been the MartyMariner Show.